How's it going, guys? My name is the Gaming New Stuff, and welcome to my first theory crafting video. In today's video, we will be speaking about the character everyone has been wondering about, Jedi Luke Skywalker. Firstly, as you are most likely already aware of, Jedi Luke does appear in certain stages throughout the game as either a boss enemy or a character you can fight against. But currently, he is physically impossible to get in any way at the moment. Now, if you're a new player, you may be asking, but wait, isn't Luke Skywalker already in the game? I got him when I started. And the answer to that would be yes, as a regular character with a gun and nothing impressive going for him whatsoever. Most people, when they think of Star Wars, think of the iconic Luke Skywalker swinging his lightsaber around against the likes of Darth Vader and the AT-ATs. Not farm boy Luke firing a small musket against the most powerful foes of the dark side. To start with, let's talk about a few other iconic characters that were not released until later into the game's lifespan. The first, and possibly most notable or spoken about when the game was relatively new, was the iconic Jedi Master Yoda. Despite being on promo images and loading screens for the game, he was nowhere to be seen inside the game. Until eventually, a special limited edition event was released in order to fully unlock Yoda and leveling him up to 7 stars. This was the first event and helped to bring in a very iconic Star Wars character. Following the Yoda event was another character who was incredibly iconic to the Star Wars universe, but this time as a Sith Lord. That character being the Emperor. Now don't get me wrong, Darth Sidious was already out and in the game since the beginning, but Darth Sidious was the lightsaber-wielding Sith from the prequels, not the menacing, force lightning reliant ruler of the galaxy. Once again, like Jedi Luke, the character of the Emperor was in the game for a very long time before the actual character was released to unlock in a similar event to Yoda's. Next we move on to the well-known smuggler, Han Solo, who was only in the game under the appearance and name Stormtrooper Han from A New Hope. This is similar to Luke's situation, in which they had only included a less iconic and less well-known version of the character. After a while, raids were released in the game, and Han Solo was released with them as the ultimate prize for completing the hardest difficulties of the raids. Last but not least is Obi-Wan Kenobi from the Clone Wars, the fearless Jedi General. Much like most of the other characters that I've mentioned, there was a, shall we say, alternate version of Obi-Wan in the game, known as Old Ben Kenobi from, you guessed it, A New Hope. Relatively recently though, General Kenobi was added to the newest raid as the highest difficulty reward, just like Han Solo. Now what does all this have to do with Jedi Luke Skywalker? I promise I'm not just rambling. Well, seeing as Luke Skywalker is possibly the most iconic Star Wars character, besides Darth Vader, I would like to say that they will almost certainly add him through either a raid or a new challenge event. I can almost guarantee they will not add him in just a farming cantina battle. I just hope and pray that they don't add him as a squad tournament character. I personally strongly believe that Luke will be added through a brand new raid, more so than an event. The ideas that I have as possible options for a new Luke Skywalker raid are as follows. The first idea I thought of was a Wampa raid on the planet Hoth. And although the Wampa from episode 5 was pretty awesome, I doubt it's big enough, strong enough, or scary enough to really warrant a raid. The next idea I had was based around inspiration from the Tank Takedown raid. In that raid, you seem to go through quite a lot of separatist forces, including General Grievous, super battle droids, and more. So I had the idea of a raid that goes through Empire units. This could either occur on Hoth, on which the big unit to take out would be AT-AT, or on Endor, where you could take out the AT-STs and eventually the shield generator, or maybe even on the Death Star or an Imperial Star Destroyer. in which you could fight through waves of Empire forces in order to take out Darth Vader or the Emperor. I believe if it is done properly, this could be fun and awesome to be made into a raid and would bring in such an awesome character with it. I think that this raid should be more like the Pit than Takedown, in which all players of all levels can participate and not just high level players. Once again, I imagine the actual Luke shards will only be available on Heroic, but it should definitely not be as difficult or limiting as Tank Takedown. Despite what I think, I imagine that Capital Games and EA would introduce the new raid once they raise the level to 90. All characters would gain, I imagine, massive boosts in stats and abilities. But make sure to let me know what you guys think how he'll be added to the game. Now, what would Jedi Luke's abilities be? Firstly, I believe that he would be yet another character who has 5 total abilities, one being a leader ability. This is most possibly the most theory-crafted or even blind part of the video, so please bear with me. I believe that his basic attack would be a regular lightsaber swing or swipe, which has a 50% chance to inflict stun and 25% chance to gain foresight for 1 turn. Next up would be a force push, in which he fires a powerful force blast towards an enemy, causing exposure, buff immunity, and heal immunity. Thirdly would be an AoE ability, which would involve a flurry of lightsaber swings and attacks, causing daze to all enemies with a chance to daze Luke himself. It would also deal a ton of damage because of that possible chance. His leader ability should provide rebel allies with 15% potency per debuffed enemy, as well as provide an extra 40% offense to rebel and Jedi allies. Finally, his unique ability should be whenever an ally is critically hit, Luke gains offense up for 2 turns, and the ally that was hit gains stealth for 1 turn. Now, this may be ridiculously overpowered or ridiculously underpowered, but I was just putting it together in my head as I was writing this. So hopefully, you guys can let me know what you think would be really good abilities for Luke. Now on to the next and final important question. What version of Jedi Luke Skywalker should be added to the game? Now I know that Empire Strikes Back and New Hope Luke with his blue lightsaber is the one that's already in the game. It already has models and animations. But personally, I would absolutely love to see Return of the Jedi Luke with his green lightsaber, black clothing. Despite not necessarily being the best movie in the Star Wars series, I think the character looks absolutely awesome. But again, I want to know what you guys think about which type of Luke should be in the game. This is my personal theory about how I believe Jedi Luke Skywalker will or should be added to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Now make sure to let me know what your opinion is and what your theory is about how they'll add him eventually. And also, make sure to stay tuned for the next Theorycraft video in which I plan to Theorycraft future raid ideas, because the few raids that I did for this one made me really think about all different raids and characters that could come along with it. So subscribe to not miss that video, make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this one, and guys, peace out.